I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone. Need a motion to approve the minutes for the March meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have any public participation tonight?
We do.
Awesome. Go ahead,
Where would you like us?
wherever you want.
Okay.
Wherever you feel comfortable.
The camera, but I don't want my back, so. I know public comment is brief, so I've just kind of prepared a statement. So I stay on script, so sometimes some of the folks in here know me, so sometimes I go off script, get excited, get to talking. Anyway, my name is Peter Facero, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent, Kalispell Public Schools. Just here to talk to you guys about something that affects every student, family, and business in our Kalispell community, and that's the high school levy on May 6th. So I just want to preface this too. So we've been going around talking to all the school boards, getting out to our partner schools, which make up 60% of our population within our high school district. And we know a lot of times we preach to the choir. So when we're talking with you guys, but it's our hope, that you guys will get the word out and be able to help spread that word, because you can reach a lot of pockets that we can't. And I know that Superintendent Jensen, I think, sent a letter to Joe to ask him to send out to the families and just the impact this levy is going to have. So, and then just personally, I spent 20 years at Flathead High School as an assistant principal and then a principal. And I went to the college for 5 years as the director of trades and industrial arts. Just loved my job there, loved Flathead Valley Community College. But the reason I came back to the district was to be able to work on our personalized competency-based education, is to get students out of the four walls of the classroom, out into the community. And we know there's other ways of learning. So I just want to preface that a little bit. But while you guys as students may not be in high school yet, it's important to know that 60% of our school students come from one of our 13 partner districts. The transition from a K-8 school to a high school is a critical milestone in the student's learning journey. Our goal is to ensure a smooth transition by meeting students where they are and connecting their K-8 experiences to meaningful, engaging high school learning. To do that, we've been transforming how we educate. We've moved from one-size-fits-all approach to personalized competency-based education, an approach that meets students where they are, focuses on real-world skills, and builds pathways that help students explore who they are and where they want to go. We start early, elementary, doing extended classroom experiences. Middle school, they're trying things like culinary arts, technology, some of the same things that you guys have here. And by high school, they're interning, apprenticing, and preparing for college and careers in meaningful ways. This is real-world learning in action. These programs aren't just great ideas, they're working. In the last year alone, over 250 industry partners helped provide 200 internships and 55 summer opportunities. Students are registering for these experiences in record numbers. Our partners feel the difference. Businesses like Schillinger Construction aren't just supporting our programs, they're hiring our graduates because they know our students come prepared. But here's the challenge. Without this levy, we are at risk of losing all of that momentum. If it fails, we'll be forced to cut 20.5 teaching positions, eliminate over 100 course offerings, and remain the lowest funded AA district in Montana. And that's just not a future that we want for our kids. The levy isn't about extra, it's about essentials. It's about keeping class sizes reasonable, protecting programs, and continuing to innovate. Despite being the lowest funded, KPS directs more of its budget classroom to instruction than the average district. We already are doing more with less, but we can't do it alone. So here's where you come in. Vote on May 6th, talk to your neighbors, share your stories. This levy just isn't a vote for schools, it's a vote for our community's future. Because this levy matters, and so do our students. So, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jennifer Merriman. I'm a trustee on the Kalispell Public Schools. I'm an elementary trustee, so
get to vote on both elementary and high school issues. I'm one of 11. I'm also a mom, and I'm a lawyer, and my husband owns Bias Brewing, so that's a little bit about me. Pete talked about what's at stake. Obviously, we haven't passed a high school levy in 18 years. Our graduating seniors are graduating without the benefit of a single high school levy in their lifetime. We're the lowest funded AA in the state. It's not even close. It's not like we're Scotiabank. We're about $600 off from the next person. We're at $8,000. The next is about $8,600, and goes all the way up to $9,200. So when you multiply that over a high school student population, that's a significant sum, and that's where we're at. Pete talked about 21 positions, 100 course offerings. I think it's important to understand where those course offerings are, and we've been out talking to a lot of folks in the community. We've talked to every one of our partner districts and their school boards. And I think when we talk to folks, especially out in the community, it's not that people don't support our schools, it's that they just don't understand how we're funded. And once they understand how we're funded and what levy dollars are used for, then it's usually a different conversation. So when we talk about these 100 course offerings, and we're already seeing it, Chance and I were talking it in the enrollment phases. As kids are enrolling this year, we're already seeing it. So we have less ag courses being offered by losing 2 teachers at the Ag Center. We're losing about 8 teachers at Flathead and about 8 teachers at Glacier, and we're losing the Delta at Linderman, right? We're talking about trade classes, welding, auto mechanic, culinary. There's CAD courses, heavy equipment course. Student-built homes is one of our levy-funded programs. Obviously, we've talked about the Ag Center and Linderman. Those are levy-funded programs. Athletics activities, work-based learning and internships. We got 250 community partners where kids get to go work in businesses, including my law firm. I've had 6 interns. It's been great. I highly encourage everyone to do it if you can. But this is what we have at stake. And like I said, I don't think it's that people don't support our schools. I think the conversation, once they understand, usually pivots to, well, why should I have to pay for it? Why doesn't the state pay for it? I thought marijuana taxes were paid for it. I thought lottery taxes were paying for it. Why aren't you guys flush with money? Because my property taxes has gone up. And I think when you hear all of those things, and I've always said, the truth shall set you free. When you drill down on the details of any one of those things, the truth explains exactly what's going on. When you talk about property taxes going up, absolutely, they are going up. What's going to our schools and what we levy is a fixed amount that we back into. And you all know this, I'm preaching to the choir. So what it means is we have more property taxpayers, everybody pays a lesser share. So what's actually going to our local high schools, having not passed a levy for the 18 years we haven't, means that everybody's share has gone down over that period of time for levy-funded activities. Marijuana, God bless the legislature, amendment at second reading, I think in the Senate, amended out the percentage that went to schools. The lottery funds, same deal. Why isn't it state funded? I've been watching the legislature very closely and involved in a lot of, it pains me to look through my text messages, and I think I have 30 senators and 30 representatives on there, but watching the school funding stuff going through, there is nothing on the horizon that fundamentally changes how schools are funded. That fundamental funding problem, 80% from the state, go fetch your 20% from the community if you can. That's not changing this cycle, and there's nothing on the horizon to change it next cycle. So that's where we're sitting there, and obviously we have 2 years before our legislature meets again, because Sine Die Day is May 5th. So at least unless they choose to Sine Die sooner. So I guess I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer here, but I feel like in a room where most everybody knows all these issues, I think what I would ask you to do is, along with what Pete said, go out and advocate and spread amongst your friends and people supportive of education. But if you hear stuff, what you hear circling out there, what you hear, that's holding people back and making them pause on voting yes, and if you don't know the answer, ask us. I would love to drill down and find the facts and do a Mythbuster on it. Yeah, and do a Mythbuster on it, because I feel like, once you get the facts out there and illuminate it, I've been amazed how many one-on-one conversations I've had with people, and they go, wow, I didn't realize that. And so if you've heard things swirling out there, you have questions yourself, please ask me. I'm happy to track it down, any information you guys want. I'm gonna give you all my business cards so you guys can, I'll give you my school board business card, not my lawyer one, but you can email me. But do you guys, I'm sorry, I know this is public comment, you probably don't get asked questions, but if you did have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here you guys go. I think I brought enough here.
Thanks you guys for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
This,
for having us.
I'll just say very quickly, I think the trades program is critical to our valley, to the kids of the valley. I personally believe we're going to see a massive resurgence, particularly in the trades. And it's just a wonderful way, looking off into the future, just the way I see it, is that our kids who may not be able to afford to live in this valley, the trades, and when they get into the trades, that is an absolutely, probably one of the best ways if they elect not to go to some four-year program to continue to stay here, and not only stay here, but thrive.
Thank you. My daughter's playing softball, and I drove Pete, so we might have to scoot over. That's fine. If you guys do have any questions, please email and reach out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Are there any other public comments before we move on? Okay, we're moving on to reports. Superintendent, thank you so much.
So the school report cards for the 2023-24 school year have been released. And if you saw the table in my report, you know there's not much data on there. Normally we would report math and reading scores and growth scores for math and reading, but because we've switched to massed testing, and that test is not legit yet, I'm sorry, it's still in a pilot phase, let's say that. So there's no reports from the mass testing right now. We did get a report on attendance, and our attendance might be a little bit better than it was when we first started focusing on that. It's 30% and 32%. And also 51% score for science testing, which is 5th and 8th grade. One other thing I'd like to mention is we got our preliminary results from accreditation back last Friday. And on the sections that we did this year, we got 4s on every measure. So it's a 1 to 4 rubric, and we nailed it. Stephanie did at least 2 parts of that for me. So that's it for me.
All right. Principals?
I don't have anything to add to mine.
I don't have anything to add to mine either, but if you have questions about anything that is in there, feel free to ask. I know data was included in some other stuff, and if you have questions, by all means, feel free.
Any questions?
Thank you for including those things.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Any staff reports?
Last week we had the kindergarten teachers did kindergarten roundup for next year's incoming kindergartners. And we saw 37 kids, which is pretty average for what we get in roundup, and then we'll get the remaining enrolled through the rest of the school year and over the summer. But it's helpful to get them in, and we just do a little assessment on them, and we kind of get a read on their academics and social interactions and development, and then we can place them better according to how they scored, so we don't have all of the low kids in one room or all of the high kids in one room or all the behaviors in another. So that was nice for us to see those incoming kids.
First grade's been working on our chicken unit, and our chickens will start hatching like Wednesday-ish. So we'll have some baby chicks in first grade.
Gold mine.
Every day they come in, they're like, have they hatched? Have they hatched? I'm like, oh guys, we got 18 days still.
PTO?
I can speak to that one, I guess. Yeah, it seems last week didn't work, so everybody's meeting tomorrow. And got lots of inquiries for funding. So, kind of goes with what everybody's talking about, like the innovations in the trades. We do a lot of hands-on stuff up here, and so teachers need a lot of extra money for those supplies. And Mr. Off has been really good about helping a lot of the designated clubs and classes. But then when you have teachers still trying to figure out how to meet those ends, PTO's been maxed out on how much money we can give. So that's unfortunately going to probably look a little different the next few years down the road. But so it's kind of a bummer for some of us to see, but also it kind of shows sign of the times too. And then, but we've had a couple really good fundraisers. We had the penny drive, and that all went 100% back to the school, individual schools, and plus $100 from our PTO. So the sixth grade, or the little school won, and they got just over $600 worth of stuff, right? And then fifth grade went up here, and we very easily spent just over $700. So it was super fun, but that was really great to see like everything go back and have the support of administration and teachers. And so it was really fun.
When you say maxed out, do you just mean because you're giving everything away you're raising and just
Yep.
not having more to give?
Yeah, so switching from the PTA to the PTO gave us that freedom. So when we were building up all this money and everything, we had to like pinpoint exactly how much we were spending. And then because we also ran the risk of being audited. So Ms. Janet can attest that our books had to be very, very clear. And I mean, as the rules stand, we have to save every single minute from the history of our association. And even as we have dissolved, which was kind of weird and nasty in a way from them, it was very odd. We had to get rid of as much money as we could, otherwise they would absorb it. And so we just had to open the floodgates and say, you want books? Yeah. You want chicken stuff? Yeah. You want playground stuff? You got it, So, yeah. And so now we have to bring it in. But that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. But it keeps everybody very honest in the fact that we're not a profit. Our goal is to support. So, but everybody hangs on. But the figure is to get the bills paid, because we do have bills, with storage and things. But so it's just life in a fairly small box. So it's an interesting business thing.
How much does PTO donate back to teachers, to the district?
In the last 2 years, $22,000.
And that's going down, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we bought big stuff. We bought tents for track and books. We helped with all the curriculum and all of the software things that the kids love to have as that AI piece that really individually challenges each student to their max. So all those pieces that are really critical in the day-to-day stuff that just doesn't get met in budgets. And I'm not saying it's negative. It's just, I know how the numbers are, and that's what you have to give. And it's just never enough.
Do you know what the potential need will be for next year?
I can
Compared to what
tell
you're
you in just grants alone, we're running around $6,000 that we give back. So that's just grants alone that people are asking for. So, and then this time around, we could only give half to a lot of people that wanted more, because we wanted to give a little bit to everybody instead of one class getting $800, like that kind of stuff. So we did have to kind of pick and choose more than we had to. So, the need's still always going to be there. But,
Okay.
yeah, good
Yeah.
questions.
Do you guys produce budgets and forecasts and everything?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You ever want to share those?
Oh, sure.
I'd just be curious. I don't know if the board would be interested in just seeing what those numbers are and what they're covering and whatnot. Especially as we go through the budget process and see.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That'd be great collaboration.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for all your work. And a lot of work, a lot of time. Do we have any reports? Any? Yeah. No curriculum met and negotiations.
Yeah. We do curriculum first.
Okay.
Give me this chance.
What's that?
You want me to talk to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the OPI rule changes that came out in July 2023, all book purchases for schools are now approved by the board. So big thanks to Stephanie for getting the lists to us. I don't know how much you collaborated with Jacob. I think Stephanie was at the meeting. So we've had a few passes as the curriculum committee to look at the book lists. We've refined really what we need from the schools as we look at those lists. We put then together a book purchase approval guideline. That was what you received in your board packet. So that can then live as committee members change, as this request, it's going to go on, right? This is something that's now our responsibility as the trustees. We're really happy to do that for the schools and the community so that they know we're doing our due diligence on that part. We look for dates approved, we ask for synopsis for new books, identifying where it's going to be part, is it going to be library general circulation, is it required reading, and just that's all laid out for us, and then we get to support the schools getting the materials that they need.
Is it possible for the teachers to have a copy of that so that we're not buying books for our classroom that then we get told, sorry, you can't have them?
Because we
I think it should be, is that cascaded within the schools, how that works for individual teacher book purchases? And
So right now, one of the pieces to that puzzle is that we're just starting this process. So what's a bit of a challenge with that is that we don't have an expansive list at this moment in time, but yes, I can give viewer rights and I can share what we're working to approve, but probably what I'll end up doing is instead of sharing the curriculum list that is kind of within circulation in a continual living state of approval or review, I will probably give you guys a list of approved ones that we've done since the start.
Oh, I just meant the guidelines.
I think the guidelines.
Oh, the guidelines, yes.
The board agrees, I think it's fine to share. And it says, at the top, these are the things we will need to know from you. I mean, Stephanie's done a good job gathering that.
I can
definitely do
that.
For me, in the summer, when there's garage sales that have lots of kids' books, or if I don't want to buy them, I'm not going to be able to use them in my classroom.
I think
So
you'll
we
see
have
on the guidance, the guidelines are clear that there's, it's driven by, library association, there's the citations for the guidance are also on there that make it very clear, we're not creating something that's unexpected or overly stringent on those choices. Our approval, in my mind, and we talked about this at the committee summit, is to give you guys our backing and our support. And if there needs to be more conversation about anything, then we have that conversation there so that you're confident in that. I think that can be shared, and it's...
Mm-hmm. We had talked about putting those guidelines into the document that we had. And so I think that would be an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and maybe, I guess I'm hearing a need here to make sure that there's a process for teachers to know how to get that endorsement for themselves, even for families because I have a box of books to donate, and I was shoot, I don't even know, I should type up a list for you? I don't even know, so it's just sitting in my house right now.
So, we had that experience at Lakeside this past week. I had a parent come in and ask if they could donate books. So what we did, kind of thinking through this process, and again, it's one of those things that we may need to discuss further, but what we did was, I said, sure, give us the books. I gave the books to our librarian to cross-reference with the things that are already in circulation in our library in Destiny Follett. And those things that are already in Destiny Follett and in our system, we plan to utilize, and the things that aren't, we would put on a list to be able to review before we vetted them. I don't know if that fully follows kind of the vision of what the curriculum committee is thinking, but that would be my thought process if we did receive books as donations. I don't want to necessarily turn those down, but I also know we need to be able to walk through those pieces. So I am willing, I follow your guys' lead with what you guys feel is necessary, but at that moment and in that time, it was, if it's already in our book circulation as a free offer-up book of choice, you know, are we still able to do that? Because the books are in circulation within our building anyway. And then anything that's not, then what we would do is we would definitely bring it through the vetting process.
And even those other books could still go on that replacement.
Yes, absolutely, and they can.
So again, then what that gives you is that gives you that documentation that we reviewed it and we are behind those completely. And I think that's really the philosophy of it. So I think the more the merrier, though these lists will probably get kind of.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what, was there something specific that brought this up?
At the state level?
Okay, was
Yes.
that's
The
what
state.
it was?
Yes, exactly. It's the
Yes.
state, it's the OPI changes that went through in July
Okay.
2023. Yes, it's a compliance piece. It's not just us.
I mean, but there could, I mean, I was thinking back to the book fair last year, as we put them out, there was a book that as we put it out, we were like, we are not putting this out there. So I mean, even stuff that comes from Scholastic, I was like, we can't sell this at the book fair. This is like totally not appropriate. So I was just curious if there were local things that were included after, which just like.
Yeah, I can give you the Montana quote annotation if you're hearing that way.
Oh, I was just curious.
Come on, I have the reference. It will be in the document.
Yeah, I'll make sure our team gets that series of guidelines, and then I'll give as much information as I can with regards to the books and the vetting.
Well, I mean, it's just easy to Google it, so I think it's just an easy
Yeah, no,
one to
it's-
drop in there to see. Yeah, and we've approved a couple of lists of books. It's pretty painless and it's fun. It's fun for me to see.
Okay, so just for clarification, like, the books we currently have in our classroom, we don't have to like go through these and like,
I think it's new.
Like
It's
personal
new.
class.
Yeah, I think that was one of the main
So I got,
points, is
like,
when we're just
300 copies.
renewing a book, like we're having to order new copies of an existing book, we're gonna delineate that to renew, yeah. And anything new is then gonna go through this more in-depth process.
For my elementary folks, would it just be helpful if I walked through that document in this process at a staff meeting at some point, just so we're all on the same page? I can, it wouldn't take that long.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think if we just have eyes on it, then
Yeah,
that would probably be enough. If we have
Okay.
other questions, we can ask them.
definitely.
And we're always happy to give you more support, right? Especially if you're worried about anything at all. Run it through this process. And we'll just do that.
So the negotiation committee met today with the classified staff, and it was our first meeting, so they shared their goals and what they wanted to see, and we shared our proposal, and now we're going to meet again on the 12th. So that's where we're at with that one. So we'll have another meeting on May 12th at 4 o'clock at Lakeside. And because I wasn't here last month, did I miss any other committee meetings? I don't. No.
Policy. No, policy with me.
Okay, do we need to schedule, other than we did already schedule a negotiations committee meeting on May 12th, do we need to schedule anything else? I was trying to remember, has every committee met this year? Buildings,
I don't think
facilities, and
buildings
grounds?
did.
So,
I don't think transportation and school did.
transportation and school. Do we have any, I mean, it's so hard when we're trying to meet once a year and we don't really have any necessary business to discuss. Any suggestions on that? I mean,
Well, we could, you know, if the Buildings and Facilities Committee met, we could talk about the summer projects.
Okay.
So usually look at funding future projects.
Okay.
Usually pretty easy.
Okay. So that's, see, buildings, facility, and grounds is Bill Metzler, Chance, and Tiffany. Do you guys want to pick a day?
When's our next board meeting?
Probably the 19th is the third Monday in May.
Oh, this 5:30.
5:30 would yours. And that would be here.
That would be.
Okay.
So are we talking May 19th or 5 o'clock at Lakeside?
5:30.
5:30.
Okay.
We can drag it out for an hour.
I can do that.
That's what I thought.
Okay, and the other one was Transportation and School Food Committee. See, that's Kendall, Carrie, and Adam. Is there anything that we need to discuss that we can think of?
Robin has been working with the school in Dayton, possibly providing them with some meals a couple times a week. So it might be interesting to hear from her about that process.
That would be very interesting, yeah. Are you guys okay with that? I mean, we can.
They've also been doing money this year, right? They've been self-sufficient.
They are
So it would be a nice thing to acknowledge and
Congratulate her.
observe how it is. There is also June for it to still consider.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's wait then until June, because, well, for one thing, Kendall's not here.
Yeah, selfish.
Yeah. Right? It's okay, Carrie. All right, then moving on to the next school board meeting. Would be the 21st.
19.
19. Oh, shoot, I'm in the wrong month. Pick a month, any month, okay. All right, is that good for everyone? It's going to be the shake-up night. All right, and that's at Lakeside.
For the new people for Adam and Tiffany, the shake-up night.
Oh, so you have to reorganize the board that night.
Okay.
So Carrie will be stepping out. Sarah Carter was her name?
Carver.
Carver is stepping in. And then the rest of us are signed up for another 3 years. Is that how that works still? It's 2 years?
I believe Adam is 2.
Adam is 2.
Everybody else is 3.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
And you elect chair and vice chair.
Yes, and we have to elect a chair and a vice chair. All right. Moving on to policy considerations and changes, second reading. Did anyone have any questions? Good. Do we have to vote on this, or is it just pass now?
Just it passes on the second read.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Moving on to the singular action items.
I move to acknowledge the teacher resignation of Rebecca.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the renewal of tenured teacher contracts.
Move to approve.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Renewal of non-tenured teacher contracts.
I move to renew.
Second.
No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Cancel the May 6th school trustee election by acclamation contingent on the number of candidates, not exceeding the number of available positions.
So moved.
I'll second.
Oh.
Any discussion? Any questions about that? Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approve intend to advance on salary schedule. Sarah Walters, Zach Duvall, and Donita Duvall.
Could you give me a little more context behind
Yeah.
that?
Actually, we're supposed to approve this by March 1st, but when teachers want to move on the salary schedule, they turn in a list of the courses they've taken, a transcript to verify that, and then we move them over starting in September.
So based on additional training, education, whatnot? they-
Correct.
Okay. Move to approve. I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Offer drama coach position to Sydney Larimer.
I move to offer drama coach position to Sydney Laudermill.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Offer elementary special education teacher position to Beverly Crane.
So moved.
Seconded.
Can you tell us anything about her?
Sure. Beverly has some experience working in Kalispell, a couple years in Kalispell Public Schools. This year she has been teaching in Hawaii, but is returning. She owns a home in Bigfoot, I believe. So she has 3 to 4 years of experience and pretty solid background.
Awesome, that's great. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approve memorandum of agreement with Summers Education Association.
Is that the STARS Act?
Yes, that's the agreement that makes us eligible for STARS Act funding.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the approval of expenditures for March and the whole month. March, the end of March and the whole month of April.
So moved.
Are you making the changes we discussed, or how do those
Yes.
get reflected?
We'll just work through those.
So they get signed and approved at this point, and then the show will happen later?
Yeah,
Because
so
it has to
the
be
vote
paid.
after, so the money that should have been paid from the student activities account, we'll have that account reimburse the general fund. And then we're working on those Amazon Prime subscriptions. One of them I canceled today. The other one, we have to fool around a little bit. Our goal, though, is to have one Amazon Prime account for the district that the district clerk will be in charge of. So that then when we need to order something from Prime, we just go through Jen and everything's good.
That sounds great. Maybe not to Janet as much.
That's the easy stuff.
All right. Any further discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Moving on to approval of payroll.
I move to approve payroll.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Question. Sorry.
You vote no second.
Really thought you would get there. Well, this is just general. You put a lot of budgetary stuff in there, like the calculations and whatnot, and that's coming up in August, correct? We gotta have all that approved, or when's that?
Yep, we approved the budget in August.
Okay. I'm just curious, is there, because we were emailing back and forth, and I just quit inundating you with all my questions.
It's fine.
Is there someone at the signal or somewhere we can just get more insight on how this is,
How they come up with
how they're
their
coming, because
figures.
I can't make heads or tails with the instructions they're giving you and how they're calculating.
Yeah, I don't know how they calculate it.
It's tracking.
But that's why the mills changed, because we're getting more revenue, so it made the mills go down. But how they come up with the more revenue, I'm not sure. How
Right.
they come up with what we're getting. Do you know? How
It's
they
like
figure
2
that?
times 2 divided by 1 is 8. Like,
So it was I think they did a 2.4 or 2.6% inflationary increase.
right.
But the other factor is enrollment, and our enrollment is less next year than it is right now. It's been going on for a couple of years, so our total increase in funding from the state is about $59,000.
I guess that drives down the mills is the way it was explained.
Well, yeah, I mean, similar to what Jennifer said, it's backed into, right? And then once you figure out the number, then it backs into it, but, yeah, I just,
Yeah.
I don't know, do they offer any, or does what is the group?
MTSBA.
Do they offer any kind of educational walkthrough?
They
that?
do, they have one of the board onboarding sessions is actually a financial one.
Mhm.
Probably a couple hours of an intro, if I recall, right?
Working with them right now to come up with some dates for some training, if at all possible. So we'll do that, because I didn't see the school board class at FECC.
I don't think they've offered it this year.
Not this year, so I'm in contact with Montana School Board Association to set up some training for all of us.
And with budget coming up in August, that
Right.
might be just perfect timing if they could actually take our numbers, if they're willing to do something specific to our district, and walk us through our numbers, so we all can have a better understanding, especially with the mills that we control, like rollback for transportation and whatnot, that we're having an influence on what we adjust.
Not to be a jerk about it, but should the finance committee start meeting going into the, but maybe not even in May, but that would be a good place to build some expertise
June would be a good idea.
ahead of July and August. Insanity. So if you don't think we need it in May, then that's.
No. But June would be a good time, because that's when you're really, closing out this year's budget and building next year's.
See if I can find that link from TSBA.
Okay.
I think those should be active and open. And they certainly would be for May for the trustees.
All right. Thank you all so much. Is there anything else?
Yeah. So it's going to be kind of stuff.
Move to adjourn.